This conference will now be recorded.
Now I continue the yesterday class. So cerebellum part 2. I hope you learned well yesterday. So we continue that same topic, remaining parts of the cerebellum. So usually we are following these headings. Under these headings, we are studying the cerebellum. So we completed up to functions of cerebellum, introduction, location, external features, parts of cerebellum, divisions of cerebellum, and the functions of cerebellum. Up to here we completed. And today we are going to study about the connections of cerebellum, structure of cerebellum, and the clinical anatomy of cerebellum. So first we see the connections of cerebellum. And in this picture, we can see the connections of cerebellum. So whatever you see red color, blue, and green, these three form the brainstem. So you know the parts of the brainstem: midbrain, pons, and medulla oblongata. So behind and dorsal aspect of the brainstem, whatever you see, that is the cerebellum. Of course, cerebellum, pons, and medulla oblongata, these three considered as hindbrain. So usually the cerebellum is connected with the brainstem. So it is connected with the midbrain through superior cerebellar peduncle. It is connected with the pons, that blue color one, through middle cerebellar peduncle, and it is connected with the medulla oblongata, this green color, through inferior cerebellar peduncle. That means connections means cerebellar peduncles. So in this picture, we can see the cerebellar peduncles, superior cerebellar peduncle, middle cerebellar peduncle, inferior cerebellar peduncle. So these three peduncles, they connect the cerebellum with the brainstem, respectively midbrain, pons, and medulla oblongata. Here you can see the fibers of these three cerebellar peduncles: superior, middle, and inferior, present in the respective positions. This is another picture. You can see the cerebellar peduncles. Here we see cross sections of cerebellar peduncles. Here you see, whatever you see, this is the cross section part. This is the SCP, superior cerebellar peduncle, and MCP, this is the big one. This one is called middle cerebellar peduncle, and lower part, this is the small one. Here it is labeled. This is the inferior cerebellar peduncle. That means we can see the three cerebellar peduncles. Then what is your observation here? If you see the sizes of three cerebellar peduncles, middle cerebellar peduncle is much more bigger than the remaining two peduncles. And also you see the position. MCP, middle cerebellar peduncle, is present in the ventral aspect, and SCP and ICP both are present in the dorsal aspect, means behind the MCP. So what you have to notice here, the size of the MCP and the positions of cerebellar peduncles. So this is about the peduncles, cerebellar peduncles. Now we completed the connections of cerebellum, cerebellar peduncles. Now we are going to study the structure of cerebellum. If you see the structure of cerebellum, here you see it is made up of gray matter and white matter. So as you know about the central nervous system, so central nervous system, you can find the two type of matters. One is the gray matter, another one is the white matter. So gray matter is formed by cell bodies, white matter is formed by axon neurons. you know these things. But in case of cerebellum, cerebrum, in these two conditions, gray matter is present outside, that is named as cortex, and white matter is present inside. So in case of cerebrum and cerebellum, gray matter is present outside and white matter is the inside. In rest of the CNS, central nervous system, means brainstem and spinal cord, this is reverse. Inside gray matter, outside white matter. Now we confirm to structure of the cerebellum here. So it has the two parts, made up of two parts, outer gray matter and inner white matter. And gray matter consists, that is cerebellar cortex, one, and second one is the nuclei. So nuclei of the cerebellum. So nuclei, cerebellum and cortex. These two are the components of the gray matter. And as usual, white matter forms the fibers of the cerebellum. So you know these things. So we study the structure of the cerebellum one by one. If you see the gray cortex of the cerebellum, so histologically this is made up of three layers. From outside to inside, molecular layer, Purkinje cell layer, and granular cell layer. So these cell layers, these three layers are forming the cortex. Now we come to the nuclei. So there are four nuclei, four pairs of nuclei present in the cerebellum. That means four nuclei for the each cerebellar hemisphere. These are named as nucleus dentatus, nucleus globosus, nucleus emboliformis, and nucleus fastigiae. So these are the four cerebellar nuclei. Now we come to the white matter. Obviously, white matter is formed by the fibers. So which fibers are forming the white matter? So we can see here exons of Purkinje cells. So these are the output fibers of the cerebellum, Mossi fibers and climbing fibers, and these are the input fibers of the cerebellum. So these are the fibers form the white matter of the cerebellum. So briefly, this is the structure of the cerebellum. So in this structure, we are going to study in detail about the layers of the cerebellum, cortex layers of the cerebellum, deep nuclei of the cerebellum, and fibers of the white matter. So first you see one by one. First we see the cerebellar cortex. That means layers of the cerebellum. So this is the histological slide. Already you studied in the histology. So you are aware of the three layers of the cerebellum. Here once again you see quickly. So outer layer, molecular layer, you can see here. That labeling you can observe here. Then inner layer, granular layer. So between molecular and granular, here big cells are present in the cerebellum. Okay, these are the characteristic cells of the cerebellum. Those are named as Purkinje cells. For example, this is the one like that. So Purkinje cells are present in between the molecular and granular. So totally three layers: molecular, Purkinje cell layer, granular layer, and inside you can see the white matter. So if you see the cerebellum, so major contribution is the gray matter, and you see the small part of the white matter that is present in the middle or center of the cerebellum. So this is about the three layers of the cerebellum. And here in this picture, we can see the different neurons of the cerebellum. Usually in cerebellum, you know the three cells of the cerebellum. So you are aware of, one is the Purkinje cells, second one granular cells, third satellite cells. Apart these three, another two cells are also there. Those are the basket cells, another one Golgi cells. So totally in case of cerebellum, totally 5 types of neurons are present: satellite, not satellite, stellate, basket, Purkinje, Golgi, granular. Out of all these cells, we are giving more importance to Purkinje cells. So Purkinje cells of the cerebellum, this is the short notes question from the histology. So Purkinje cells, these are the characteristic cells of the cerebellum, big in size when compared to the other cells. These are big in size and they form the Purkinje cell layer of the cortex. And if you see the shape of these cells, these are the flask shape. The shape of these cells are the flag shapes, and also we can see the input and output fibers of these Purkinje cells. So this is about the cells of the cerebellum. And next we come to the structure of the cerebellum. In structure of cerebellum, and which part we are going to study now? Nuclei. So already I told you, gray matter consists cerebral cortex and also cerebellar cortex and nuclei. And here we can see the 4 nuclei. You can see here from middle to lateral, that means from midline to lateral aspect. So 4 types of nuclei. One is the fastigial nucleus. Number 2, globosus nucleus. Number 3, emboliformis. Number 4, dentate nucleus. You see here from midline to lateral side, these 4 nuclei are extending. Okay, 4 pairs are present. So fastigial, globosus, emboliformis, and dentate. Okay. Then of course emboliformis, globosus, both are considered as nucleus interpositus. Nucleus interpositus. Out of these 4 nuclei, so you see here dentate nucleus. This is the nucleus of the neocerebellum. Yesterday I told you divisions of cerebellum. So this is the nucleus of the neocerebellum. This is the substantial nucleus of the cerebellum. We can see it clearly here, big in size, and you see here based on the shape. This is the irregular and uneven surface is present. Based on the shape, it is named as dentate nucleus. So this is the 2 marks question from the cerebellum, dentate nucleus. So once again, there are 4 nuclei from midline to lateral side: fastigial, globosus, emboliformis, dentate. So if you see these 4 nuclei divisions, fastigial nucleus is the nucleus of the archicerebellum. That means vermis mainly. And globosus and emboliformis, these are the nuclei of the paleocerebellum. So you know what are the parts of the paleocerebellum? Yesterday we are studied. And dentate nucleus, this is the nucleus of the neocerebellum. So these are the 4 nuclei of the cerebellum. Now here we come to the white matter of the cerebellum. So white matter of the cerebellum is formed by fibers. So already I told you 3 types of fibers are there: axons of Purkinje cells, mossy fibers, climbing fibers. These are the 3 types of fibers. So in this picture also we can see the fibers. Here you see the mossy fibers, and these are the climbing fibers. You see, mossy and climbing fibers, these are the afferent, means input fibers of the cerebellum. Mossy and climbing, these are the afferent fibers. That means these are the input fibers of the cerebellum. And Purkinje cell fibers, these are the axons of the Purkinje cells. Axons of the Purkinje cells, and these are called output fibers of the cerebellum. So briefly, cerebellum has input and output fibers, and input fibers are mossy, climbing, and output fibers are axons of Purkinje cells. So you see here, mossy fibers usually they relay or they synapse with the granular cells. Mossy fibers are synapse with the granular cells, and climbing cells usually they synapse with the basket cells and also Purkinje cells. They synapse with the basket cells and Purkinje cells. So based on the course and the synapses, mossy and climbing fibers are named. So how these are named, once you go through the book. So this is the small assignment for you. Why these fibers are called mossy fibers? Why these fibers are called climbing fibers? That you go through the book once. Okay. So these are the fibers and white matter of the cerebellum. Now we come to the fibers passing through the cerebellar peduncles. In the beginning of the class, I told you cerebellar peduncles. In the beginning of the class, I told you cerebellar peduncles. So what cerebellar peduncles? Superior, this one, middle, and inferior. These are the cerebellar peduncles. So here I want to clarify one thing, the fibers of cerebellar peduncles. So as mentioned earlier, middle cerebellar peduncle is the big cerebellar peduncle and major cerebellar peduncle big in size when compared to the other peduncles and present ventrally, and which connects the pons with the cerebellum. Here you see middle cerebellar peduncle which connects the pons with the cerebellum. So the most important point, this middle cerebellar peduncle, it consists only input fibers of the cerebellum, anaga efferent fibers of the cerebellum, only efferent fibers, that's enough. And superior cerebellar peduncle and inferior cerebellar peduncle both are small inside, present dorsal to the middle cerebellar peduncle. They connect the midbrain, medulla oblongata, cerebellum. So these are present ventral dorsal aspect of the MCP. So these two are consisting the both efferent and efferent fibers. That means input and output fibers of the cerebellum. That's enough. So once again I clarify, MCP is consisting only input fibers of the cerebellum. SCP and ICP mixed. These are consisting both input and output fibers of the cerebellum. So what are these fibers and which tracts are passing through these cerebellar peduncle? That list we can see in this slide. So this is another important one. The fibers passing through the cerebellar peduncles, short notes question. Another short notes question, fibers passing through the inferior cerebellar peduncles. These two are also very, very important. So here we can see that list. What are the tracts? What are the tracts and fibers are passing through the cerebellar peduncles? So here, once you see fibers enter the cerebellum, that means input fibers of the SCP. What are their? Ventral spinocerebellar tract, tectocerebellar tract. So output fibers of the cerebellum through SCP. What are they? Cerebello-rubral, cerebellothalamic, cerebelloreticular, cerebello-olivary. So these are the fibers, input and output fibers of the cerebellum. I think you are aware of all these tracts and fibers. Anyhow, you are going to learn in the brainstem, spinal cord, and also cerebral cortex. In these areas, you study in detail about these fibers. Right now, you remember just what fibers are passing through the superior cerebellar peduncle, input and output. So this is the short notes question. Next, we move to the fibers passing through the middle cerebellar peduncle. Here is the MCP. So already I told you, I mentioned earlier. So middle cerebellar peduncle, only input fibers, through which only input fibers are passing, which connect the pons with the cerebellum. That's why these fibers are named as pontocerebellar fibers. Pontocerebellar fibers, only input fibers. So now we move to the fibers passing through the inferior cerebellar peduncle. Input fibers and output fibers. So efferent and efferent fibers through the ICP. Even though this is the small in size, if you see anatomically small in size, but number of tracts, more number of tracts are passing through or fibers are passing through the inferior cerebellar peduncle. Here you see input fibers are efferent fibers passing through the inferior cerebellar peduncle. Posterior spinocerebellar, cuneo-cerebellar, olivocerebellar, reticulocerebellar, vestibulocerebellar, anterior external arcuate, fibers of striae medullaris, trigeminocerebellar, and output fibers are cerebello-olivary, cerebello-vestibular. So these all fibers you are going to learn in the brainstem in detail. Don't worry. Right now, just to remember. So in case of inferior cerebellar peduncle, you see spinocerebellar and trigeminocerebellar, and these are the important fibers. Okay, so these are about the fibers passing through the cerebellar peduncles. And next we come to the almost summary of the cerebellum, and here simply I summarize the entire cerebellum. Okay, before this summary, once again I come from the beginning of the cerebellum. So quickly, once we go through the beginning entire cerebellum, after that we see this summary sheet. Okay, Are you following, all of you? Are you listening, all of you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This is the quick summary. It's okay. I don't go in details, already you are aware. Then quickly I summarize it, you see. So under this heading we are studying. So you know the introduction. This is also called small brain, controls same side. Okay, and also called silent brain. So you know the R bar vitae. Okay, so arrangement of white matter of the cerebellum like a tree, branching pattern of the tree. This is called R bar vitae. This is the 2 marks question. And now you know the location. This is present in the posterior cranial fossa. So you know it. Now we come to the external features. So you know the external features of the cerebellum: 2 cerebellar hemispheres, vermis. So then 2 surfaces, 3 borders, and 3 fissures. You know all these things. Okay. In the inferior surface, vallecula is present. So in this picture, we can see the lobes: anterior lobe, posterior lobe, in the middle, vermis. And this is the superior view and inferior view. Inferior view, you can see the notch. This one is called vallecula. And in this picture, we can see the 3 lobes of the cerebellum: violet color anterior lobe, green color middle or posterior lobe, that orange color flocculonodular lobe, 3 lobes. Then we come to the vermis, which connects the 2 cerebellar hemispheres. It is formed by 8 parts. You know the 8 parts of the vermis. This is also short notes question, 3 marks question. Lingula, central lobule, culmen, declive, folium, tuber, pyramid, uvula, and nodule. We can see the cross section of the vermis in this picture. Now we come to the parts of the cerebellum: middle vermis, and these are the lobes of the cerebellum. Lobes are divided into a number of parts. You see the anterior lobe, posterior lobe, flocculonodular lobe. So between anterior lobe and posterior lobe, fissure prima is present. Between posterior lobe and flocculonodular lobe, posterolateral fissure is present. So anterior lobe, okay, what are the parts of the anterior lobe? Here we can see ala, anterior quadrangular lobe. Parts of the posterior lobe: posterior quadrangular lobe, superior semilunar, inferior semilunar, and biventral tonsil. And you know the last one, that is the flocculonodular lobe. Now we come to the parts of the cerebellum, which was mentioned in the last slide. Okay, so same parts we can see in the tabular form also, same parts. Okay, now we come to the divisions of cerebellum, and this is important. You see, based on the divisions, we can learn the functions, and also we can learn the nuclei, and also we can learn the clinical anatomy of cerebellum. So main important one is the divisions of cerebellum. So 3 types of divisions of cerebellum: anatomical, morphological, and functional. So anatomical consists to 3 lobes: anterior lobe, posterior lobe, flocculonodular lobe. And functional, so functionally it has 3 parts: vestibulocerebellum, spinocerebellum, corticocerebellum. And morphologically, archicerebellum, paleocerebellum, neocerebellum. So these are the divisions of the cerebellum. One by one we can see here: morphological, anatomical, okay, and morphologically, and which parts of the cerebellum forming the morphological parts, that also we can see here. Okay, and this one is the divisions of cerebellum functionally: vestibulo, spino, and corticocerebellum. Okay, so this is about the divisions of cerebellum. And next we come to the functions of cerebellum. So in functions of cerebellum, already I mentioned the main important functions: equilibrium, learning process, that means motor learning process, maintain the posture, muscle tone, and coordination. You can say mainly 4 functions: equilibrium, muscle tone, maintains the muscle tone, posture, and coordination, and learning process. So these are the functions of the cerebellum. So these are the functions of cerebellum. Yesterday we have seen this is the coordination, and this is on here onwards we studied right just now only we studied. So cerebellum part 2. So you know the connections of the cerebellum. So cerebellum, which is connected with the brain stem, anaga midbrain, pons, medulla oblongata. We can see the 3 colors here through cerebellar peduncles, superior, middle, and inferior. So SCP connects the midbrain with the cerebellum. MCP connects the pons with the cerebellum. ICP connects the medulla oblongata with the cerebellum. So in this picture, we can see SCP, MCP, ICP. Already I told you, you see the size of the 3 peduncles, cut parts of the 3 peduncles. MCP is much more bigger than the remaining 2, present ventrally. SCP and ICP present dorsally, small in size. Then next we come to the structure of the cerebellum. In this structure, so cerebellum is made up of, as usual, nervous system. So made up of the gray matter outside, white matter inside, like the cerebrum, unlike the spinal cord. So gray matter, it has 2 parts, cortex and nuclei. So cortex is formed by 3 cellular layers, and nuclei 4 in number, present in the white matter in the middle of the cerebellum. These are the 4 nuclei. And you know the fibers are forming the white matter of the cerebellum. So what are the fibers here? Mossi fibers, climbing fibers, Purkinje cells. So this is the structure of the cerebellum. So in this picture we can see the 3 layers of the cerebellum. That means cortex, structure of cerebellum, cortex, molecular, granular, and between them Purkinje. So these are the cells of the, these are the neurons of the cerebellum, 5 in type. Out of 5, the most important one is the Purkinje cells. The most important one is the Purkinje cells. And now we come to the structure of cerebellum. So structure of cerebellum, you see the nuclei. So there are 4 nuclei: vestigial, globosus, emboliformis, dentate, from middle to lateral side. Out of 4, I told you the most important one, dentate nucleus. This is the substantial nucleus of the cerebellum, most important one. Now you see the fibers, already I told you, Mossi and climbing, these are the input fibers of cerebellum, and axons of Purkinje cells, these are the output. They relay in the deep nuclei of the cerebellum, and also other parts of the central nervous system. So here we can see the fibers, Mossi fibers and climbing fibers. So Mossi and climbing fibers are also short notes question in histology. Okay, now here we can see the list: fibers entering and leave the superior cerebellar peduncle, and through the middle cerebellar peduncle only input fibers. And here we can see the list: fibers are entering and leave the inferior cerebellar peduncle. So this is the cerebellum. So in this sheet, we learn the summary of the cerebellum. I think this is the most useful and important sheet for you, because based on this single slide, simply and briefly you can know the entire cerebellum. Here simply I summarize the entire cerebellum once you see. So in this summary, how you study divisions of cerebellum, functions of cerebellum, nuclei of the cerebellum, and efferent fibers. Here I mentioned only important fibers, that to efferent fibers only. Okay. So first you see the vestibulocerebellum, first division. This is also called archicerebellum. So what are the functions of vestibulocerebellum? Equilibrium, and maintains the muscle tone, and also maintains the erect posture. So these are the functions of the vestibulocerebellum. And next we come to the and which nuclei present in the vestibulocerebellum. So which nuclei? Only one nucleus present in the vestibulocerebellum, that is the nucleus fastigiae. Then what are the efferent fibers, or what are the output fibers from the nuclei fastigiae? So these are the cerebello-vestibular fibers. You see how brief it is. So first one, vestibulocerebellum or archicerebellum. Functions of the cerebellum: equilibrium, maintains the muscle tone, and the nucleus of this division, this part, nucleus fastigiae, and efferent fibers of this nucleus cerebello-vestibular. That's enough. Now we move to the second one. Second one is the spinocerebellum or paleocerebellum. Okay, what are the functions of spinocerebellum? Here we can see movement of limb muscles, and coordination of the limb muscles, mainly movements of limb muscles. So this is the function of the spinocerebellum or paleocerebellum. Then what are the nuclei present in the spinocerebellum? There are two nuclei present in the spinocerebellum: nucleus emboliformis, nucleus globosus. Then what are the efferent fibers of these nuclei? So the efferent fibers of these nuclei: cerebello-reticular, cerebello-olivary, and cerebello-olivary. These are the nuclei of this one. And next we come to the next one, that is the last division, corticocerebellum or neocerebellum. The main function of the cerebellum: fine movements, especially skilled movements, learning process, and coordination. So fine movements or skilled movements are performed by the corticocerebellum or neocerebellum. And the nucleus of the cerebellum is the nucleus dentatus. Already I told you, this is another short notes question, nucleus dentatus. And efferent fibers from the nucleus dentatus: dentatothalamic, dentatorubral. Of course, these are also named as cerebellothalamic, cerebellorubral. So these are the nuclei. So then you see here cerebello-vestibular, cerebello-reticular, cerebello-olivary. That means efferent fibers of nucleus fastigiae, nucleus emboliformis, globosus. So efferent fibers of these three nuclei pass through inferior cerebellar peduncle, and efferent fibers of dentate nucleus, they pass through superior cerebellar peduncle. So how brief it is, you see. So in this single slide, you can summarize entire cerebellum. So for example, if you want to learn the dentate nucleus, so based on this slide, you can learn the dentate nucleus. For example, so dentate nucleus is the nucleus of the corticocerebellum, neocerebellum, present lateral aspect of the cerebellum, one. And it gives rise to efferent fibers, and these efferent fibers are named as dentatothalamic, dentatorubral fibers. So these dentatothalamic, these dentatorubral fibers are passing through superior cerebellar peduncle. That's enough. So like that, based on this single slide, we can learn something about the entire all parts of the cerebellum. Another example, SCP, superior cerebellar peduncle. Already I told you, superior cerebellar peduncle, fibers passing through which. This is also another short notes question. So what is the superior cerebellar peduncle? So superior cerebellar peduncle is the connection in between the midbrain and the cerebellum. First point. And second one, okay, it is present in the dorsal aspect of the middle cerebellar peduncle. Second. And third, it consists to input and output fibers. So input fibers from the cerebellum, so that spinal cord, spinothalamic fibers, spinocerebellar fibers. Then output fibers is formed by the fibers of the dentate nucleus, dentatothalamic, dentatorubral. Like that, SCP, that also you can learn little bit about the SCP in this slide. Like that, you can learn the ICP in this slide. So these are the output fibers of the ICP, that also you can learn here. That means, for example, what are the functions of the cerebellum? So equilibrium, muscle tone, movements of the muscle, and fine movements. These are the major functions of the cerebellum. So you can say, so these functions are produced by the vestibular cerebellum. These functions are produced by the spinal cerebellum. This function is produced by the corticocerebellum. That means we can learn the nuclei, functions, divisions of cerebellum, and fibers, including the peduncles. So all these things we can learn based on the single slide. That's why all of you later you must go through this single slide. This will summarize the entire cerebellum. Then next we move to the last one, that is the clinical anatomy. Still now I completed introduction, location, external features, parts of cerebellum, divisions, functions, connections, structures. In these parts, the most important one, arbor vitae, one. Number 2, parts of vermis, and number 3, divisions of cerebellum, especially functional divisions of cerebellum. That is also important. Number 4, dentate nucleus. Dentate nucleus. Number 5, nuclei of the cerebellum. And number 6, dentate nucleus. Number 6. Number 7, climbing and mossy fibers. So these are very, very important from the cerebellum. These are the short notes question. Now we move to the last one, that is the clinical anatomy of the cerebellum. So this one is the interesting, and last one we can complete it quickly. Clinical anatomy of the cerebellum. So cerebellar lesions. Cerebellar lesions. What are the causes for the cerebellar lesions, and what are the dysfunctions of the cerebellar lesions? Under these two, we study the cerebellar lesions. Can you hear, all of you? Are you following?
Yes, sir.
All of you, are you
Yes, sir.
following?
Sir.
Now we learn
Yes,
the
sir.
clinical anatomy, that is the cerebellar lesions. First one is the cause. So what is the cause of the cerebellar lesions? Obviously, the first cause, vascular occlusions, then blockage of the blood supply of the cerebellum, tumor, and injuries. So these are the causes for the cerebellar dysfunctions. Now we come to the what are the types of the cerebellar lesions. So right now, mainly anatomically, we study the only 3 cerebellar lesions. These are 3 dysfunctions. One is the vermis lesion, vermis part. Another one is the anterior lobe of the cerebellum. So anterior lobe lesion, neocerebellar lesion. So 3 lesions: vermis, anterior lobe, neocerebellar. Under the vermis, we study the 2 clinical dysfunctions. 2 dysfunctions. One is the truncal ataxia. Second one is the nystagmus. Second one is the nystagmus, and first one is the truncal ataxia. So under the vermis lesions, under the anterior lobe lesion, we are studying the staggering gait. Staggering gait, and this is also one type of the ataxia, staggering gait. And under the neocerebellar lesions, we study the intention tremor, action tremor, and a speech defective. So these 3 symptoms we can study. So one by one we see in details. So first one is the vermis lesion, that is the truncal ataxia. And you see this one, you see this video, and see this video clearly. Then what is your observation in this video? You see here, you observe the trunk part of this person. That means trunk of this person. If you see the trunk of this person, the first observation, trunk is unsteady. That means it is not stable. Trunk is not stable. First one, that point we can observe. And the second one, you see the stepping of the foot. You see the how deviation of the lateral deviation of the leg with the lateral deviation of the leg with the unequal steps. Both sides are not common. So lateral side deviation of the leg with the unequal step. So this one is called truncal ataxia. So this is due to lesion of the vermis. That is the one. And second one, we come to the nystagmus. In this picture, we can see the second one, nystagmus. And what is your observation in the nystagmus Here you see. What is your observation in the nystagmus? You see here. What is your observation? You observe the eyeballs. Very good. Eyeballs. So uncontrolled movements of the eyeballs. One eye or both eyes. So uncontrolled movements of the eyeball. So that condition is called nystagmus. This is also due to the lesion of the vermis. Why? Because mainly this vermis is connected with the vestibular system or vestibular nuclei of the cerebellum. So vestibular nuclei of the brainstem. So vestibular nuclei and its fibers are controlling the posture of the trunk and also controlling the eyeball movements and equilibrium. That's why we can observe these two symptoms. So in the vermis lesion, truncal ataxia and nystagmus. These are the two symptoms. And now we move to the second one. That is one is the anterior lobe lesion. So anterior lobe lesion means you know the parts of the anterior lobe. So anterior lobe is formed by anterior ala and also some parts of the vermis. That is the anterior lobe. So you observe this baby in the middle, how she is walking. So if you observe, this gait is called staggering gait. So what are the observations of this movement? You see here, in coordination of the lower limb muscles. First thing, in coordination of lower limb muscles, one, and second one, unable to walk in the straight line. So unable to walk in the straight line, first point, and in coordination of the lower limb muscle. So this type of gait is called staggering gait, and this is due to lesion of the anterior lobe of the cerebellum. Is it clear? This one. And now we come to the third lesion, that is the neocerebellar lesion. So under neocerebellar lesion, first you learn the intention tremor. Tremor means shaking. Okay, shake, tremor. So intention tremor means you see here, you observe this person, what he is doing. You observe the index finger, movements of the index finger of this person. What we observe here, this person is unable to point the target part or objective. So he see here properly. This person is unable to point that pen, that is the target part, target organ. He is unable to point the target part, unable to point the target part properly. So unable to target the or point the nose also. This tremor is called intention tremor. So uncontrolled shaking, that is called tremor. So second one is the action tremor. In this picture here you see this person is trying to hold that jar, water jar and water glass, jar and glass, and you see the action of his hands. His hands are shaking. His hands are shaking. That means uncontrolled movements at the limbs, uncontrolled movements at the limbs during the action. This one is called action tremor. So if neocerebellum lesion is happened, that leads to, one is the intention tremor and second one is the action tremor. And also third one is also there, that is the speech defective. Speech defective means in coordination in between lips, tongue and palate. So that produce the inappropriate language. Okay, that is the neocerebellum lesion. So this is about the clinical anatomy of the cerebellum. So cerebellum, mainly three lesions: vermis lesion, neocerebellar lesion, anterior lobe lesion. So mainly we study the three: truncal ataxia, nystagmus, and intention tremor, action tremor, speech defective, staggering gait. So in this picture, truncal ataxia. So trunk is unstable trunk, one, deviation of the leg, and unequal steps. These are the features. In the nystagmus, uncontrolled eyeballs, uncontrolled and uncoordinated eyeball movements we can observe here. This is the nystagmus. Under the anterior lobe lesion, staggering gait, incoordination of the lower limb muscle, and also walking on the straight, unable to walk on the straight line. And neocerebellar lesion, intention tremor, unable to point the target organ properly, and unable to hold the objectives. That means shaking hands during the action. That is called action tremor. So this is about the cerebellum. So I briefly explained in detail about the cerebellum. So this is about the cerebellum. Now, do you have any doubts? Do you have any doubts?
No, sir. No, sir. No, sir.
Are you listening?
Sir.
Do you have any doubts? So this is about
No,
the
sir.
cerebellum.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Shall I end this session?
Yes,
Yes or
sir.
no?
Yes, sir.
Shall I end this session?
Sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes,
Yes, sir.